dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square. In the frosty air, what a right time, it's the right time to rock the night away. Jingle bell time, it's a swell time to go riding in a one-horse sleigh. Giddy up, jingle horse, pick up your feet, jingle around the clock. Mix and a mingle in the jingling beat. That's the jingle bell, that's the jingle bell, that's the jingle bell rock. We are the ones who don't know what we're fighting for. Give us a gun and send us all off to war. We are the ones who grow up in violent homes. We are the ones who don't know what's right or wrong. I know, I know. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. We are the ones who don't know why we're losing score. Give them a badge so they could send us to the morgue. We are the ones who are scared to walk out the door. We are the ones who don't know what we're dying for. I know, I know. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No. Get off this fucking neck. Love that makes you know can't fucking breathe. Love that makes you know we are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest episode of I'm No Joe, your home for all things combat sports and the place where every armchair quarterback can feel like Ben Bronco. The views and opinions presented on the I'm No Joe channel belong solely to the person expressing them, no one else. If we say it, that means we meant it. That being said, this show does contain adult themes, adult content, and general shit that you shouldn't be letting your kids intake. Be advised, viewer discretion is recommended. Proceed at your own risk. You've been warned. Oh, L'chaim. If it's Sunday, it's what? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the last, what did I say, show of 2022, the final recap of this strange fucking year. Welcome, everyone, to this, our last broadcast on the I'm No Joe channel of this damn year. So, before we get into all the craziness from last night's fuckery and all the fucking ridiculousness that did unfold, first and foremost, how the fuck you doing over there, TJ?
Dude, fucking fantastic. It's a little bittersweet that we got to wait 4 weeks for another event, but hey, this one, although it started out fairly slow, it ended up pretty fucking well, I'll say. Overall, it wasn't bad for what I would call like a double hangover card.
I absolutely agree. I will say, this is one of those cards that kind of everybody goes into just expecting it to be like a literal going through the motions, nothing spectacular to happen. And there was some shit that popped off last night. I will say, to their credit, there was a lot more popping off than I expected there to be.
There were some absolutely brilliant moments.
Unfortunately, it did take a little bit to get to that interesting point. The first, what was it? 1, 2, 3, the first 4 fights in a row all went to decision, and fairly uneventful decisions at that. I think the Rafa Garcia versus Mahashate fight was probably the only one of the 4 that was really entertaining, and that was mainly for the fact that Rafa Garcia got an artery nicked in his head and literally lost, I think they said it was all said and done, a pint and a half of blood in the fucking cage. They told him that he had lost 20% of his body's total fucking blood content by the time he got to the hospital after the fight. So
yeah, he's lucky that the UFC docs were able to stop it before they got him to the hospital, because anytime you cut any sort of artery, you can fucking bleed out. And to be honest, it's a good thing that the doctors didn't come in and check that, because they would have saw that right away in between rounds and they would have called the fight. And credit to Mahashate, that was one of the nastiest fucking elbows we've seen in a long time from standing, because it wasn't going to affect the fight, minus the fact that he cut an artery because it was back here on the fucking side of his head. But that was one of the cleanest fucking elbows, and it was brilliant to watch. But he didn't do anything after that. He fucked himself. Like, he literally had the fight in the back there, and blood and all. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. If you're squeamish at all, that was not the fight for you to watch. Because
Rafa Garcia was just literally like Darren Elkins style, just dripping blood, and did not slow down. Was still just fucking giving it 100% the whole time.
Like,
so
you think fucking RoboCop, when he got his fucking cut above the nose,
when his shit was split all the way,
it
fucking
didn't
open.
bleed that fucking much.
Same thing, yeah.
Like and credit to the cut man, Hoffa's cut man. He did a pretty goddamn good job, considering it was a fucking arterial bleed. Yeah, granted, it only lasted like about a minute into each round, but for being an arterial bleed, the dude did a fucking fantastic job as far as keeping Hoffa in the fight.
Yeah, it was genuinely impressive when you saw how big the cut actually was and how well they were able to stop it in between rounds like that, for damn sure. Not to mention, credit to Rafa Garcia for just literally pouring fucking blood and not letting it deter him in the slightest.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is, as I'm watching that fight and I'm hearing the commentators, they go, "It's squirting." Looking back on it, I should have known right at the time that it was an artery, because only an artery squirts unless it's a blood choke, and then the vein's gonna have increased pressure. But in a case like this, yeah, no wonder it's fucking squirting and just constant drip. I mean, the dude's luckily it wasn't a bigger artery, because he would have been passed out on the fucking floor before he finished. But that showed a bunch of fucking heart to lose that much blood, and because that just saps your energy so goddamn much. And he was so hyped.
If you don't have blood to recover the red blood cells in.
I mean, the only thing I was disappointed in was all that hype at the fucking end after the bell rang for the 3rd round. I'm like, really? You had all that energy left and you didn't seem to want to use it. But hey,
Yeah, all the gum flapping at the end when he should have been using it to do the fight.
Yeah, but hey, whatever. It was interesting nonetheless. Not too often that you see a canvas go from completely nice and beige white to fucking completely red. Like every other fight after that, you look at the canvas and it's just soaked in blood, just everywhere. It was gnarly. Definitely one for the record books.
Yeah, you know those sponsors had to have been like, fucking really? Because blood got over every logo on that fucking canvas. Because like I said, it didn't that the fact that he was split wide open didn't slow Hopper Garcia down at fucking all. So they put blood all over that motherfucker right out of the gate to start the fights out.
You know, there's only one other thing I did want to mention about this fight, and it wasn't so much the fight itself, it's are we gonna see Mahashate go up a weight class since he's having a hard time making lightweight?
I kind of have a
Massive
split
for,
feeling on that. That's one of those like you can see he needs to, he should. It's clearly an issue for him trying to get to 55. At the other side of that, he probably is one of those dudes who's too proud to move up because he's always been a 55er and he wants to be a 55er. So
well, he wants to be a bit 55er because he's fucking bigger than everybody.
huge, yeah.
But like Rafa Garcia is no little lightweight either. He's a pretty
No,
sizable lightweight, but Mahashate makes him look like a fucking midget wrestler. It's fucking bad. Like the dude seriously needs to think about going to 170. I think he'd do better there. For one, he'd be able to have a lot more gas tank because he's obviously cutting a lot if he can't fucking make weight.
Right.
I bet you he walks around right around 200 pounds.
That's what I was thinking. He probably walks between 190 and 200. Yeah, for sure.
That's my guess. And dropping that much weight, even on a good camp and a good nutritionist, that's still fucking a lot.
Yeah. No,
But
not to mention, as quick as he is, dude, he would fucking, the power would go up, his speed would stay there. I think he would do really well at welterweight. I agree with you completely.
Yeah, it'd be a fantastic move to see him go up because, I mean, the dude's fucking having a hard time making weight and then he misses weight this one. I mean, common sense has to go up, but, you know, common sense in the UFC isn't so common. We'll leave it at that.
Right. No shit. No shit. That being said, though, that will bring us to the battle of the Saids. Said Nurmagomedov versus Said Yakub Kakramanov. I've got to say, for somebody who is not actually related to Khabib, Said Nurmagomedov came out with that Dagestani fucking passion, like he took a page straight out of that fucking Nurmagomedov family book. Kakramanov is generally a pretty fucking good grappler, but it was like he couldn't do anything against Nurmagomedov last night. Everything he tried was just like completely failing. The second he would put.
Although credit where credit is due, that is the hardest we've seen Said Nurmagomedov have to fucking work for any win so far. Kakramanov really was pushing the pace, putting it on him. On the feet he had him. He was doing well with the takedowns, but he kept leaving his neck exposed. Like you saw it in the fucking first round, and then fucking right away in the first, and then all of a sudden in the second, here he is, another fucking takedown in, and bam, there's that fucking ninja choke. It was like a fucking power guillotine, basically, and that was all she fucking wrote.
Yeah, it seemed like from the very get-go, Kakramanov did not feel any submission threat, or at least not a genuine threat from Nurmagomedov. And I get it, he's not Khabib's lineage, but at the same time, have you seen what he's done before? Like, he's still very fucking capable. And he found out the fucking hard way when we got around to that second fucking round. And he almost survived, but he, like TJ said, he kept giving his fucking neck up. And you give a dude who's a submission artist your neck so many times, one of them he's gonna lock in, and he sure the fuck did.
I mean, and to say this, like Nurmagomedov, he was calm, collected the whole time, even when he was in some precarious positions. There was a couple times where he had him flayed out, both arms wide, and he just shakes his like fuck, and then you see him, he gets himself back together, which to say that's a big nod of the cap to you to look that comfortable in some really bad positions. And that also speaks volumes about Kakramanov as well, that he has the ability to take somebody like that and put him into dangerous positions. He's just got to shore up some holes in his game, and he could be very dangerous at bantamweight. So I think for the both of them, that was a win-win for the both of them. Maybe not on the records, but definitely a step forward for both of them. Even though one of them's got to take a step back there. I mean, they both looked fantastic in the way that they worked it out.
I agree. I think this is one of those situations, excuse me, where yeah, Said Nurmagomedov is going to come away with the W, but neither one of those men really lost anything to speak of coming from that fight. If anything, it showed us that Kakhramonov is a tough son of a bitch, and like you said, just needs to polish up a couple of rough edges. But B, Nurmagomedov can stay cool under fucking fire, because that dude's pulse probably never went above 75 through that whole goddamn fight. That dude had ice cubes flowing through his fucking veins the whole time.
Hell yeah. And that's not to say Kakhramonov wasn't putting it on, because that pace that Kakhramonov set from the opening bell was fucking just lightning quick, just fucking one thing after another. Like how Said managed to, Nurmagomedov managed to fucking think through all of that and do it clearly. That says fucking tons about him. So he's going to be a danger to people as he's moving forward there. I'm excited to see where both of them end up going from here.
I agree. And those guys, both of them specifically, are a great example of why bantamweight is still fun, despite there being some fuckery currently taking place at the top of the division. Guys like that are legitimately breathing new life into a division that was starting to get a little questionable for a little while there. Dudes like that are going to keep it from getting fucking stale. I'm telling you right now.
Fuck yeah.
That being said, one of the more fun fights of the whole night, in my opinion, not the most fun, but one of the more fun fights of the evening, Jake Matthews versus Matthew Semelsberger. Man, it was said by someone in one of the post-fight wrap-ups that I was reading. People forget Jake Matthews is very young. Jake Matthews he's one of those guys that he went pro and has been a pro for a while, but people forget he went pro at 19. Jake Matthews is still a very young man, and in the process of doing his time in the UFC, even then he had an injury and had to take a little time off. So there's a bit of a gap in there as well. So it feels like Jake Matthews should be like a 38, 39-year-old dude, working through the tail end of his career, when realistically, I think they said he's just turned 26.
Yeah,
like, he legitimately hasn't even hit his prime yet.
He's got a lot of potential and a
and it
hard
seems
head.
like every time we see him, he's shored up some aspect of his game that has hurt him in the past. And man, I'm not gonna say that Semi the Jedi is a world breaker, because he's not there yet, but we've been talking about Semelsberger getting steadily better and better and better over his last couple of fights. And he gave Jake Matthews, in my opinion, the toughest fight he has had to date, because everything Jake tried, Semi was either ready for or was a half a step out of the way of. Just the way that he was moving so fucking smoothly in that fight. Props to, this is another one of those. Props to both men. I don't think either one of these guys really came away from this fight looking worse for wear. Again, Semi got the fucking W on his record coming out of this, but I think the improvements that Jake Matthews has shown in his game in just hanging in there with Semi for the whole 15 really does show or speak volumes for him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll say the one thing I seen that Jake really needs to work on during that fight is getting his hands up, because his hands were low as fuck. You saw it just as well as I did. And that part of his shit was not looking good. God damn, Semelsberger, he's highly undervalued, I think, right now. He has some serious potential in the welterweight. Like, to be honest,
and everywhere at that too.
I could see him running through quite a few people up at the top already, and doing a fantastic job of it. He may not have gotten the knockout, but he should have 3 fucking times, won every goddamn round.
Oh yeah, it wasn't for lack of fucking trying. Yeah, he knocked Jake down every round with a big fucking shot. That realistically, lesser welterweights would have fucking folded from any one of those three. I'm telling you right fucking now.
Matthews got a hard fucking dome and a lot of heart because he got back up and he would keep throwing. He was there to swing and bang, as fucking old Ty Tuivasa would say. And did he ever? He definitely made Semmelsberger fucking earn it. That's for sure.
Work for it for damn sure. Yeah, I agree. This is another one of those. I'm very curious to see who they match both of these guys up with going off of this because, again, Matthews showed so much fucking so much toughness, so much grit, and so much evolution from the young kid that we would watch go in there and just do whatever and flail. I agree 100%. My only major criticism of his game was the fact that he spent half the fight with his fucking hands at his waist, and 90% of the time he got cracked real good from Semmelsberger. If he would have just kept his hands even remotely close, not glued to his cheek, but even just close, like a normal guard, he probably could have blocked, if not at least shrugged off or moved out of the way of easier. So back to boxing basics and a little bit more cardio, I would say. But other than that, he's on the right fucking track, in my opinion.
You know, a fight I would like to see would be now that we just saw fucking Fakhretdinov fucking just decimate battle. I bet you that would be a hell of a matchup with Semmelsberger to see if he can manage the wrestling because we haven't really seen Semmelsberger against heavy wrestlers like that, and that would be a fucking fantastic matchup for him to see where he's at. Yeah. Not to mention the way that he just that Fakhretdinov just manhandled battle the whole way through.
Threw him around like a fucking practice dummy.
Man. Like, and he decimated every attempt at submissions and everything that battle was throwing up. The battle took it on short notice and all that, but I'm just saying,
still, yeah,
we're not there. There's something to be said about him as well because he's got some nasty wrestling, and he wasn't just laying on people. He was throwing. He was
active, yeah.
So it's definitely, I think that would be a cool matchup, or even see him, Jake Matthews get him. That would be another fun one, in my opinion. But yeah, I would rather see Semmelsberger get him because I'd like to see him tested against a really strong wrestler because they're up at the top of the welterweight division. There are some really strong fucking wrestlers up there, which is why you've seen guys up there not get title shots because they run them against wrestlers. And
especially lately, we've seen in the UFC, guys with strong wrestling prowess are pretty much just having their fucking way with everybody. And Semmelsberger is a decent grappler, but he's a jiu-jitsu guy more than he's a grappler. He's a jiu-jitsu guy who's trying to learn his way into the wrestling world like a lot of them do, whereas Renat is the other way around. He's a fucking strong-ass sambo and fucking combat grappler who knows a couple of submissions if the opening presents itself, but he's more concerned with manhandling you and throwing you the fuck around and wearing you out. Whereas Semmelsberger can grapple, but it's in a position over submission type of thing where he's looking to get you where he wants you so he can set something in.
Well, yeah, and like the reason why I brought up the grappling thing is the top 5 over there. You got Kamaru just under the champ. He's a fucking strong wrestler. God, as much as I hate to say it, Colby is a strong wrestler. You got the bully Bilal Muhammad is also a strong wrestler, as is Gilbert Burns. So I mean, that fucking top 5 over there, gnarly with wrestlers. You got to put him against the wrestler to see how he's going to stack up there. Then maybe throw a number behind his fucking name and then let him start taking those boys on.
Yeah, I was going to say, and then it gets real fucking interesting. But I'm here for it either fucking way. I think it's the right move.
He's definitely on his way though for getting a number behind his name. I could see that happening pretty soon by the way he handled Jake Matthews.
Yeah, if not his next match, then in the very near future. I agree.
Probably by the end of 2023, definitely.
Yes, absolutely. And then that will bring us to the premier prelim matchup for last night. Cheyenne Velismus versus Corey McKenna. I gotta say, for being the shorter girl in almost every fight she has ever been in, Corey McKenna fights like she's 6'3".
She likes to act like it.
Yeah, she doesn't give a fuck that she's actually like 5'1". She fights like a 6'3" light heavyweight. Like, she gets in there and bullies around. I think she had a 4-inch fucking height disadvantage here and like a 4 or 5-inch reach disadvantage. she didn't give a single fuck. She was slipping, getting right in and doing fucking work the whole time. She had Velismus just confused as shit for the vast majority of that goddamn fight, man. She might not have got the stop, but I'm a big fucking fan of Corey McKenna and what that little girl is able to do and continuing to do at this fucking rate. So,
you know, and I kind of I had laughed. Did you catch last night when Lisma says, "Why won't you strike with me? Because I don't fucking have to."
yeah,
She had her frustrated, and you know what? More power to her. Way to go, Corey, on that, because it's fight your game, not what everybody else wants to fight. And that is something. As much as I hate to say it, she's really fucking good at like putting the fights where she wants to go. If she's in a fight that she's got handled, and it's like, don't get me wrong, I think they fast tracked her a little too early, which is why she took that L. But on the other side of that, it was a good learning experience, and now she's fighting. She's always going to fight girls that are taller than her. If I'm not mistaken, she's the shortest woman on the fucking roster.
I think she's the shortest girl on the roster. I believe.
And, but fuck, Velismus screwed the pooch on this one bad. She didn't throw one fucking T kick at this girl at all. Oh. And anytime you're fighting a shorter fighter,
they're there all
T kicks. They're there all fucking day. So I mean, she fucked herself, and like I was just fully expecting it, because looking at Cheyenne, she's got fucking tree trunk legs. She could have really fucking hurt her, but no, she wanted to play boxing, and to be honest, I think Corey outboxed her a little bit too, because she was sticking and moving, and she was getting in really fucking fast last night, which is impressive considering she fights out of Team Alpha Male. And to be honest, that's kind of a drawback. Hopefully, she's not going to change camps if she keeps winning. I get that. Stick with the camp until it doesn't work. But I think that's going to be her one drawback. I mean, we haven't seen anything great come out of Team Alpha Male yet, so
yeah.
Don't get me wrong. She could be the
not that Velismus is a fucking world breaker or anything, but between the hype that the UFC has put behind her and all the shit that Velismus has been talking since she got fucking signed, it was nice to see McKenna go in there and just kind of do fucking work and just not only be able to frustrate Velismus with her game plan, but get in her head so much by doing it that you heard Velismus yell, "Why won't you strike with me?"
Yeah.
That's what my fucking game plan is, bitch. Not only is your game not working, but my game is pissing you off to boot. So I win.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good fucking showing by Corey, and I hope they don't try to fast track her. I hope they just keep slowly working her, because she's still fucking young. She's got a lot of time ahead of her, and there's a lot of holes in her game still that I could see that definitely need to be shored up. But overall, she's making great fucking progress. She's got a lot of potential.
Yeah. She's a fun young girl to fucking breathe some life into that fucking lady side of things over there for sure. That being said, that'll bring us into the main card and kick us off with the short notice change-up fight in Cody Brundage versus Mikel Aleksicek. I will say this. Cody was holding his own for the first little bit. He came out for a dude who took a fight on short notice. It didn't look like it in the very early moments of the fight. He was being active. He was staying in the pocket. The problem was it kind of showed that Aleksicek had a full camp, even if he wasn't training for Cody, in that his fight IQ was just that much sharper in the moment. And when that moment presented itself, he landed such a big fucking shot that just completely discombobulated Cody, that it was kind of amazing that he had the wherewithal to even look up when he fell backwards. Like, that was one of those shots that almost could have been a walk-off, realistically.
Yeah.
So,
and credit to Cody, because he did get Mikhail's fucking back at one point.
Yes, he did.
But as he's sitting there grinning, I'm like, dude, it's a little early to grin, man. You might not want to do that. And well, Armin came around, bit him in the fucking ass. And good on Mikhail, because that was a fantastic knockout.
Yeah. Yeah, no. This is one of those. I can't say like the other ones where everybody came away winning. Obviously, Cody took a fucking hard sleep, but being as how he took this one on such short notice and basically got no training time, this was essentially off the couch Cody. You can't really be too terribly mad at him. Obviously, it doesn't look good because he did get knocked the fuck out, but I think he took it on 3 days notice or 4 days notice, something like that. So
Yeah,
there's some allowance allowed with that one, or some
yeah.
leeway
There,
allowed with that.
that shorter notice, you got to give the guy a little allowance, but it definitely didn't raise his stock. I'll say his stock stayed about the same because Cody Brundage with a full camp, not a bad fighter. He's not bad. He's good enough to continue to progress in the career, but with a full camp, it might have been a little bit different. But I mean, it is what it is. You take out that short notice fight. Good luck, man. Don't get me wrong. It happens to other people where, yeah, you do get those freak wins on short notice, but those are usually few and far between.
Yep, I agree. Moving along from there, though, that will bring us to, in my opinion, probably the single most fun fight of the evening.
Oh, good God, yes.
Drew Dober versus Bobby Green. This is kind of the reverse of what we were talking about earlier in that Matthews fight, where Drew Dober kept his hands up, but Bobby Green kept his hands down at his hips. And it's a little bit different of a situation with Bobby Green because that's how he trains. That's literally his style. He punches like a karate fighter. He brings all his shots from the hip. That's how he's done it. That's what he's adapted to. So when he keeps his hands down, he's actually more dangerous than when he's got his hands up like a traditional boxer. And Drew Dober, for whatever reason, could not pick up on that. He kept like John Adamant, and you could see him saying little shit to Bobby because Bobby had his hands down, and then Bobby would fucking crack him, and you could hear every single time Bobby Green connected with Drew Dober. There was no pitter patter. There was no feeling out shots. Everything Bobby threw, he threw to end the goddamn fight. And Drew, for some fucking reason, would just never adjust. He was in trouble from the beginning of that fucking fight. The first time Bobby touched him, you saw that, oh shit, what did I sign up for? And time that fucking second round came around, man. I like Drew Dober, but this is a great example of him not being able to adjust in the fight because he was doing the exact same fucking thing at 2 minutes into that second round when he caught that fucking shot that put him into oh shit zone as he was in the beginning of the fight when Bobby caught him with the first fucking shot that you could see noticeably changed his attitude in the fight. But for whatever reason, Drew didn't change anything he was doing to try and stop that from fucking happening. I like Drew, but they say all the fucking time, doing the same thing over and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity.
See, on the opposite side of this, I don't think there was anything that he could do to change that would have stopped Bobby Green from hitting him that much. I think Bobby was the faster of the two. And so he could have adjusted, but he would have still ate just as many. And look, Bobby Green, contrary to what everybody thinks with him down, his hands down at his sides, he's fucking fast, lightning fast. There's a reason why you see him able to dip, dodge, and roll fucking punches all the goddamn time. Like I said, that's how he fucking trains, but he's also fucking quick. And that quickness, that's hard to adjust for quickness. It doesn't matter what you're doing. And like I said, Drew Dober, I've always been kind of on the fence with him. I know he's always an exciting fighter, always, because he'll take one to give one. He's one of those kind of fighters, and that's the reason why we got the outcome we did here, is because he's willing to take one to give one. But Bobby Green was looking fucking fire during that. Like, he was piecing Dober up until he wasn't anymore. And credit to both of them. Like, Dober for being able and willing to take those shots and make it an exciting fight. And credit to fucking Bobby. As soon as he woke up off the canvas, immediately walks over, congratulates him, say, "Hey man, you got me, good job." And then fucking hugging it out, high fiving and all that nonsense. And even in the post fight, Dober doing the right thing. Crediting out to fucking Bobby, saying he was piecing me up. He came for an exciting fight.
Yep.
And he's right. Now, if we could get more exciting fights like that, it probably wouldn't be MMA anymore. It'd just be like fucking kickboxing.
Yeah, no shit.
With 4-ounce gloves.
Yeah, no. I don't know, man. It almost felt like Drew landed that shot right on the button, exactly how when he needed to, because
well, he took one on the way in.
The fight, like Bobby was starting to put work down.
Yeah, if you watch that fight ending sequence there, he took a hard one on the way in where it snapped his head, and as his head's turning back, he started swinging. So like he was on target. Like like I said, he's one of those fighters willing to take one to give one. And he took it fucking hard. He's lucky he didn't go down.
I was gonna say it almost went the other way. Yeah. For
some odd reason, I always think of Drew Dober. I feel like that dude would have made a fucking hell of a caveman at some point.
I agree. I was thinking about it. Drew Dober, for whatever fucking reason, in my brain, Drew Dober is like the lightweight Cody Stamann.
Yeah.
Like if Cody Stamann fought at lightweight instead of cutting all the fucking way down to bantamweight, he would be Drew Dober.
Yeah, I can see that. Definitely, yeah. Because he just reminds me of a caveman. Like you give that dude a fucking long set of hair and a raggedy ass beard that hasn't been trimmed in 12 years. He'd be a fucking clean on caveman carrying a fucking club over his shoulder.
Yeah.
He'll take a hit, but he'll keep on walking with that fucking club, and that's what he does. And granted, it's exciting, and to be honest, I appreciate that he's well spoken when it comes time for interviews at the end. Because look, there's a lot of folks we see give interviews that are fucking terrible. So getting those little moments like that where it's clear, concise, very fan friendly, and also friendly to his career.
Yeah.
Like the dude, as much as I hate to say it, he's got fucking charisma.
Not to mention, not a bad fucking call out as well. When you this is one of those moments where if you get a microphone put in front of you and a camera is pointed at you, take advantage of that fucking time, because you will never get your request broadcast as loudly, as emphatically as you do right after a fucking win. And Drew Dober did not waste that moment.
No, not at all. He was on point, that's for sure, 100%.
Yeah, no, I'm fucking here for it. So yeah, that was a fucking great fight, man. It really fucking was. That though will bring us to the People's Coco main event, if you will.
Yes.
Bruce Leroy, Alex Caceres versus Juicy J, Julian Erosa. Man, Erosa has just been getting so much better lately compared to the fucking soup can that he was when we first saw him on the Ultimate Fighter.
Good God, yeah.
But I would be remiss as an MMA fan if I did not say so the fuck as Alex Caceres. Because Alex Caceres also came from the Ultimate Fighter from an earlier season and had a bit of a dip in his fucking career. But again, Alex Caceres is one of those that when the shit got rough, he didn't feel sorry for himself. He didn't live down in the trenches. He grabbed himself by his fucking bootstraps, pulled himself up, and turned his fucking career around. And now he's a problem for everyone. Great stylistic matchup, but man, Alex Caceres is on a fucking tear right now like no other. I'm very curious to see just how high this fucking arc he is on is going to peak, because so far they've yet to put anybody in front of him that's really given him any fucking problems all the way through this little skip. And Erosa was right there at the verge of the rankings, in my opinion. So he's tap dancing on numbered territory now, and it's going to be real hard to keep him out of that fucking top 15 for much longer if he keeps doing shit like this to guys like that.
Yeah, that was absolute. The setup at the fucking end of that fight was so goddamn clean. The timing was fucking impeccable. Like the way that he timed that fucking head kick, just chef's kiss, just fucking gorgeous. Like blew my mind at how well that was timed. Like we said it on fucking Wednesday, talking about I think his fight IQ is finally catching up with his fucking abilities. Because you saw it there, and you saw it super fucking clean. Yeah. One hitter, quitter, fucking just done. And he was also fantastic on the fucking mic on last night too. Which, when he was young in his career, he was absolutely fucking horrible on the mic when he would get a W.
Was a goofball young. He was a young goofball, just plain and simple.
Yeah, like I'm happy with where he is now. Still a bit of a goofball, but a much more poignant fucking.
He's a palatable goofball now. He understands how to be goofy instead of just being fucking goofy.
Yeah, and I think his fight IQ is finally caught up with his abilities, and that means that ship could continue to sail forward. And featherweight right now, there's a lot of open water ahead of him. And not saying it's easy open water because there's a bunch of fucking killers in featherweight. To be honest, that's one of my favorite fucking weight classes right now is the featherweight division. So he's got a long road ahead of him, but I'm excited to see where he can go.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun matchups in his immediate future, especially with a fucking big win like that. There's a lot of really fun matchups for him in the immediate future, I think. Excuse me. That being said, though, that will bring us on to the next one here in the actual People's Co-Main event. Amir Albazi versus Alessandro Costa. This is another one of those. Props to Costa for taking this fucking fight on, for making your debut on fucking short notice. It's never fucking easy. But Amir Albazi, much like we talked about earlier, is one of those dudes that just has ice water in his fucking veins. The dude does not get rattled. He stays cool under fucking fire the whole time, and he's always looking for the next fucking move. He's never where you expect him to be, and when you see him do something, it's never just to do it. It's always to set something else up. And man, Costa was just in it to fucking win it, and I just don't think he had enough time to get ready. I think Costa is another one of those new dudes that just took a fight that was a bad matchup on short notice so that he could make his debut. But I think with a little more time in the gym and a little more preparation for his actual first planned fight, I think Costa's going to surprise a lot of people. That being said, though, Amir Albazi might be one of the most slept on fighters in the UFC, in my opinion. That dude basically flies completely under the fucking radar until he does shit like he did last night to Alessandro Costa. Because, man, that fucking shot lit that stadium on fucking fire. Like, that building erupted when he fucking landed that fucking crack. And it was one of those picture perfect shots that sounded like somebody hitting a heavy bag with a fucking baseball bat. The crack that rang through the fucking building, man. Albazi's so fucking fun, dude. He's so fucking fun. It's gonna be hard to stop that dude as well.
Yeah, and I'm huge props to Costa because I did not think he was gonna last that long. I'm a little disappointed that Amir let it go that long. I was expecting a lot quicker finish, but that tells you a lot about Costa. He's got a huge bunch of potential for coming in short notice like that against the number 8 ranked fucking flyweight and lasting that long, almost taking him to decision. That's fucking huge. That says a lot. Like his stock goes up a fucking ton, in my opinion, and I'm there for it. I'm ready to see where he goes from here. Take your L on short notice. Definitely earn yourself a couple shots with full camps. They're easy, man. And Albazi, yeah, he did his job. He did it brilliantly. The odds makers were right on this one. Widest gap on the card. But if you expected it to go any other way, you're a little bit fucking silly. But yeah,
Yep.
Bazzi, he's definitely got a fuck ton of potential over there as well. I'm hoping his next fight he gets a top 5 fighter, because after this taking one on short notice, he could have easily turned it down because he didn't want to risk his number 8 ranking. To be honest, I hope they give him a top 5 fighter next, because he fucking deserves it after risking that.
Yeah, I would like to see that as well. And not to mention, even Al-Bazzi gave Costa a shout out in his post-fight speech for not only taking the fight on short notice, but for giving him such a fucking hard fight on short notice as well. So Al-Bazzi came out looking like a fucking stud and smelling like a fucking rose, in my opinion. That being said, that'll bring us to the co-main event of the evening. I've heard it said by several different people now, and I am absolutely inclined to agree. Despite Arman Sarukian versus Damir Ismagulov being a spectacular fight, realistically, had we saved that matchup for 8 months to a year, that could absolutely be a title eliminator fight. These two guys are another great example of the fresh blood coming into the UFC in some of the more dangerous or more needful of new blood divisions, specifically lightweight, because like Jed Meshew says, I couldn't have said it better. The problem with lightweight is that the top 5 have been the top 5 for so long, they won't fight anyone who's not in the top 5. And you can't get into the top 5 to fight for the top 5 because the top 5 won't fight anyone who's not the top 5. Yep. I get it. On one hand, a lot of those guys worked real fucking hard to get there. But on the other hand, everyone has to fight down at some point. I don't care who the fuck you are or how long you've been where you are. At some point, you have to fight down. And it's nice to see that the UFC is really starting to just pump some of these fucking new, very highly touted prospects into divisions like lightweight that very much need new blood to try and revitalize that division. Guys like Arman Sarukian and Damir Ismagulov are absolutely that. This was a fucking spectacular matchup. And for two dudes who are still as young into their MMA careers as both of these gentlemen are, they are absolutely both going to be a very big problem for gentlemen at the top of the division at 55 pounds, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. And you make a really good point there. One, that was a great fight. Had fucking Ismagulov's takedown defense been a little bit better, that definitely would have went the other way, because he was leading in strikes and significant strikes throughout that fight. But the takedowns that Sarukian was landing, I think it was it 8 or 9 or some wild shit like that.
9, yeah.
But had it not been for those, the fight would have went the other way. So fantastic fight overall. But yeah, to your point there, those top 5 guys, none of them are fucking fighting anybody outside of the top 5. And that includes Rafael Fiziev, who's been sitting number 6 for like a fucking year now.
Yeah.
Like, and nobody wants to touch that. And I get that. He's fucking dangerous. Like, that's a scary fucking man there. And Sarukian's proving it as well, that the fresh blood that's down there, they're ready to come and take over. The only one who's been lucky enough to fucking get that extra boost was fucking Makhachev, and that's because Daddy Dana likes him some Habib and Habib family, so that's how that ended up coming to play. So we'll see, because I mean, fuck, even Beneil Dariush has been shit on, and he's inside the top 5 over there. So
right, with 9 fucking wins in a row or whatever the fuck his crazy record is now.
Yeah, so definitely, that's a good old boys club there in the lightweight division right now.
Yep. Yeah, but with the way that Arman performed last night, as same with Ismagulov, really, for that matter, the upper rankings in the lightweight division better stop being so fucking comfortable sitting on their laurels, because there's some fucking tigers coming through the jungle and they're making their way up.
Oh yeah.
That being said, that will bring us to the main event of the evening, the final main event fight of 2022 for the UFC, Jared Cannonier versus Sean Strickland. I will say this. This might have been the only fight on this entire card that did not exceed expectations, in my opinion. So many of these fights I had completely written off coming in and turned out to be fucking banger. That fucking Costa fight, dude. Costa making his debut on short notice. The Rafa Garcia versus Mahashate fucking artery split, blood everywhere. Still great fucking matchups. And then you got the main event where you got two dudes who are both literally so close to title contention that they can taste it. One good performance for either one of these dudes, and they're in the conversation and undeniable. Jared's already been there. Now he knows what he needs to do to get back there. And if he can do that to Sean, you can't ignore him. Sean is the last guy Alex fought before he got the goddamn belt. So if Sean can correct his mistakes and put on a good performance against Jared, he's the next guy in fucking line. And neither one of them fought like they fucking wanted it. Both of them fought. We were talking about this during the fight. It seemed like both of them were fighting not to win the fight, but not to lose. Like almost playing it too safe for your own good, knowing damn well you have to fucking win this, or all the work you've done slides out from behind you and is wasted. And neither one of them could dig down, get the fucking fire lit, and do the goddamn work to win the fight. Both of them were just almost coasting the whole fucking time. Infuriating is not even strong enough of a fucking word of what that fight made me feel.
It definitely was underwhelming considering what I thought it was going to be. I won't say it was bad because it wasn't.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it was a horrible fight. I'm just saying in the grand scheme of things, in comparison to the rest of the fights just on this card,
yeah,
it was the biggest letdown for me.
I would say it was definitely the biggest letdown. I expected more fireworks in this one. And by fireworks, I don't necessarily mean knockouts, but I mean a little more action than what they did, and the will to win being there a little more. And to be honest, I expected Strickland to be talking shit the whole time. Even though they were being very friendly in the lead up. But
it was a little weird to see Jared was actually talking shit to Sean at one point, and Sean just stayed quiet the whole goddamn fight. It was a little odd.
And I mean, I guess Strickland didn't surprise me as much as Cannonier did. Cannonier, I thought, was going to go a little harder. Strickland was on the same pace he usually is. It's kind of like that medium fucking, I'm going to just keep going. I'm not going to stop. There's going to be constant stuff coming at him. And there was. But I was expecting Cannonier to throw way more counters than he did.
He seemed like crisp than he was, I think.
Yeah, he seemed like he just didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Which, look, I get it. Lock me in a cage with somebody and tell me I have to go fisticuffs with them. I don't want to be there either. But you signed up for it. Fucking get in there and do your job. And I mean, it came out of both of their corners between rounds multiple times. Do you want this or do you not? You need to do this. You need to do that. Both corners were giving fucking amazing advice.
I was going to say, multiple times during the fight, we were talking in our group chat about how great the advice both corners were fucking giving them, and then both guys would go in, the bell would ring, and they would throw it out the fucking window and completely ignore it.
I think the worst part of it is while they're giving the great advice, both of them are recognizing it. Jared, yes. Fucking Strickland, yes. Listening, so they're acknowledging and hearing what the corners are telling them. Bell rings, instant fucking amnesia of what just happened in the corner.
The whiteboard, yeah.
Yep. So they're fucking right back to it. And like I said, it wasn't a boring fight, but it wasn't what you expected out of these two that are so close to being in title contention. Fucking, it didn't like it's like they put the fucking shoes on the wrong feet or something. I was a little thrown off. I mean, God damn it, Cannonier, you're sitting number 3. Fucking Strickland, you're sitting 7. You two motherfuckers should have been going for broke because that's a winner take all type fight because Whitaker's already booked. Vittori is possibly booked.
Yes, they confirmed it yesterday.
Oh, they did confirm it yesterday. I wasn't
confirmed,
paying
yeah.
attention to that, but either way, I mean, you got those guys booked up, and Izzy said he's going to take time off. So you get a good solid win there. Guess what? You might be fighting for the title. It's possible that they give it to Cannonier if Izzy continues to want to have more time off, but with a win like that, and I'll say controversial win, because to be honest, I think Strickland did more work and did him, but that's why it was a split, and it was fucking close. It could have gone either way, but I saw it for Strickland just a little more than I did for Cannonier. But hey,
and we were actually talking about that during the fight. In the 5th round, when Cannonier cracked Strickland and broke his nose, I say broke. I assume he broke his nose because one punch that sounded like a fucking baseball bat on a fucking heavy bag, and then blood just gushed from Sean's fucking face. And we were talking about it with the way that they're scoring damage over everything now is close, I say with air quotes for those of you listening, as the fight was up until that point. The fact that he cracked Sean and made him bleed that close to the end of the fight, we joked was probably enough to do it. And then sure the fuck enough, as if we were writing a fucking joke sketch, he got Sal Diamato, the fucking swaying judge, to the surprise of no one who pays attention, and the fight ended up going for fucking Cannonier when it realistically could have gone either way had we had competent judges who were paying attention to the real fight.
Yeah, it seems like an all too common theme, and that's why Wednesday we were happy to talk about judges finally getting cracked down on, because there's been some real bad fuckery lately with them. So yeah.
Yep.
Something to look at.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I don't think this one really does any favors for either one of those gentlemen coming out of it, though. I think if anything, this solidifies that these two become the gatekeepers for actual title contention now.
At this point, yeah, they've got to do something worthwhile to make it worth a shot at a title. If they want it, they both need at least one more win. Strickland now needs at least 2.
Spectacular, like a great performance for either one of them.
What's crazy is Cannonier was on that fucking trajectory too, and it seems like since that Izzy, like watching the Izzy fight, all of a sudden he switched back, and you go, what the fuck are you doing, man? But here we are. But I'll say overall, the card as a whole, pretty fucking solid for the last card of the year, and knowing that we don't get one for 4 weeks.
Yeah, to round the year off, I agree. A lot better than I think a lot of us expected it to be.
Hats off to Shelby. You did a fucking good job putting this one.
Yeah, no shit. And then to make it even better, at least in my eyes, we finished the last card of the year with good old-fashioned bonuses. We got a fight of the night and 2 performances the way that it's supposed to be every fucking time. Fight of the night, to the surprise of nobody who was watching, I think, Drew Dober versus Bobby Green. That was a fucking great matchup, and I absolutely agree that both of those gentlemen deserved an extra $50K to take home from that. And then performance of the night bonuses, Alex Caceres, Michelle Alexijek. Both of them absolutely fucking stud performances and absolutely earned that $50K in my opinion.
The only one I'm a little disappointed. I wish they would have done knockout of the night and submission, because to be honest, I think Saeed's fucking ninja choke there fucking deserved that fucking $50K.
Yeah, that was fucking badass work for damn sure. I would be okay with that if they'd have gone backwards and flipped it that way as well.
But then choosing who got the best knockout, that's a little tough.
Right, yeah, that was a little bit closer of a competition for damn sure.
No, not mad at it. I'm glad to see only 3 bonuses, not the whole fucking card, because not the whole card deserves it.
I agree. But that being said, that is what we have got for recaps for this, the final UFC card of 2022. Thank you to everyone who has been a part of this crazy journey. This is the final broadcast on this channel of the 2022 year. Please feel free during the next couple weeks of downtime, when you've got empty time in the holiday season and you need something to fill it, We have got an archive that we have not missed a major MMA event in 5 fucking years. So feel free to roll back through the archives, go back and watch the Pit Grand Prix. I'm telling you, it's well fucking worth the time, if nothing else. That being said, the next episode we will be back will be January 12th. We now, as of this evening, have confirmed our first 2 events back. January 12th, we will have the UFC Vegas 67 card and our first pit matchup of the Clown Puncher versus Golf Tee. The second week back, January 19th, we will have the UFC 283 first pay-per-view of the year live from Rio de Janeiro, and none other than the official rematch of myself versus Fresho 3 back in the pit. So 2023 is coming in swinging, bringing the fucking heat right out of the goddamn gate. You're not going to want to miss the way we open season 8. That being said, thank you everybody who has tuned in. If you are not at this point somehow subscribed, please go down, make subscribe and get your notifications turned on. Thursday nights, 9:30-ish Central Time, youtube.com/I'mNoJoe. We go live and do the goddamn thing. During the weekends, we give a broadcast for Tapology updates. Try and get a little recap show just like this over on Sundays. The following week after we go live, anchor.fm/I'mNoJoe. A week after we go live, it comes out in all audio format that you can pick up on whatever podcast consumption platform you choose. Spotify, Google, Apple, Spreaker, you fucking name it, we're everywhere. We're out there. That being said, patreon.com/I'mNoJoe. It's the best way for you to help us do what we do and show that you appreciate it. For as little as $1 a month, you get your name as a thank you on the end of every broadcast on this channel, and you get access to unaired and literally unairable content, things that we legally have to paywall to keep the public from seeing, and we appreciate it. So that being said, if you appreciate what we do, give us a thumbs up, make sure your notifications are turned on, and we will see you again in 2023. On the other side of that coin, though, if you don't like what we do, first and foremost, what the fuck are you still doing this deep into a podcast you don't enjoy? Give us a thumbs down and then go fuck yourself. We won't even dispute it. That said, we're calling this a wrap on the 2022 season. Happy holidays, no matter what you celebrate. Please be responsible. We want to see all of you back here ready to get into the punchy, kicky shit talking with us in 2023. We're going to call it all for this particular episode. And for the 2023 year, we'll see you. But until then, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything. See you next year, folks.
Titties.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kicks were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times.